Osiris.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Goose Chicks Podcast, an all-women-led show focused on the band Goose and the community that supports them. I'm Leslie Mack, producer and co-host, and as Goose prepares for their 5-night run at the Capitol Theater, today we're joined by a special guest to break down how to prepare for Goose shows, the difference between festival shows versus regular tour shows, and just a little conversation about maximizing fun and maximizing safety. But before we do that, let's do a quick check-in as we always do. How's everyone doing this week? I know I've had a rough week. It's been a little dicey, and I was excited to talk with all of y'all. How are y'all feeling? I just feel like, can tour happen already? I'm sick of these people around here. How are y'all doing? How you doing, Chelsea?
Yeah, it's been a long week, just kind of wore out feeling. I feel like that's kind of a collective energy right now. Mm-hmm. People are feeling worn out, but hopefully re-energized soon with Goose starting to tour again. So looking forward to that. But yeah, it's just kind of dreary weather too, and just
although it's nice here in North Carolina, but I think the weather's about to turn on us. So who knows? Hannah, how are you doing? I know you're neck deep in the semester. How are things going in academia land?
But you know what? The weather's beautiful today, and it's my birthday weekend this weekend. I'm going to a conference an hour away, but I got my hotel paid for, so I'm going to celebrate my birthday with like a fancy bottle of wine and like a nice meal, and then I'm just going to like be alone in my room, maybe turn on some Goose shows and just like, have that calm before the storm, before a tour kicks off. So I'm actually in a good place. I'm excited.
I love it. Oh, that sounds so amazing. I did that. I went to my favorite hotel here in Charlotte. I told you, I was like, I'm just leaving for the night. And I just went to the hotel and just stayed there and ordered room service. And it was great just to get out and just have some me time. It was really nice. Alexis, how you doing? How are things going for you? You had a busy week this week, which we're going to get. In fact, let's get into it right now. Please. What's happening?
It has been a busy week. I think that's kind of what's bringing me back to life through this goose drought and stuff, is that I've just been practicing on my photography and doing a whole lot more. I don't really bring it up that often, or I don't think I really bring it up at all, but I do photography and do concert photography. And so this past weekend, I went up to Asheville. Jason was supposed to be going to a show. And then one of my other friends, Kevin, in the Goose community family was like, hey, he kept telling me about Dogs in a Pile. And I had heard them before, but I hadn't gone to see them, and, just kept going on and on. Shout out to Kevin. I love you. And so he's like, I'm going to be in North Carolina. You have to come. So he gives me 3 different dates. And, I'm not the type of person to commit to something and not do it. And so, Asheville Friday was like my last date. And last week I was just really tired and down. And so I was like, oh, I've got to go. And so Jason's going to a different show up there. And I was like, I'm going to catch a ride with you. So I catch a ride with him up to Asheville. And I was going to shoot Lotus that night, but something told me not to. And I'm happy that it did, because my instinct was right. And so I ended up going to Dogs in a Pile and taking photos with Dogs in a Pile, but then also meeting a lot of awesome people from different music festivals and, talking photography. And so I was really excited about that. And then one of my other friends I had just taken photography for a few weekends ago saw that I was in Asheville and hit me up, and he was playing in a reggae band. And so he was like, hey, do you mind? Can you come and do some photography for us? And I was like, sure. So it was exciting. So I went out and did a lot of, it's called Rockstead is the band. And they were on their album release this weekend. So it was a really good reggae band. and they're out of Asheville. Sorry, not Nashville. I'll put the notes up at the bottom. It was really good. And then they had an opening band. So I had 5 different bands that I went to see this weekend and took photography for 3 of them. And so now I'm finishing editing all those up, and I have to finish up Leslie's editing. So I've just been super, super busy doing that stuff. And that's kind of bringing me back to life, especially being with like probably 10 to 15 different Goose family members this weekend. Like, how can you not, we're going out to eat, we're hanging out, we're getting just so much time, and it not being at a Goose show that we're actually being able to spend time together and bond and, and eat food and, spend days together. So that was a lot of fun. And of course I did my funny or not right. I always like to get on statues and do like weird poses and stuff. So I don't know.
She really does, y'all. It's an obsession. It's really funny.
If I see a statue, I was like surfing on a cat this weekend, and then it was so cold in Asheville. Like when we got there, it was snowing, and when we left Mount Airy, it was like almost 60 degrees. And so we get there and it's snowing, and the wind is just whipping, and so I'm like, I'm freaking freezing, Mr. Bigglesworth, like Dr. Evil. And so I find that cat, and I'm like, oh, this is like the perfect thing. So, but yeah, so it's just been a jam-packed weekend of working on my photography. But really excited to go to the Capitol and be able to take some photography up there. So I just want to be on top of my game. And, so I've been doing that on the weekends, or anytime that there's music, just taking photos, editing, and getting ready for the Capitol and for tour to start. And I'll be at different shows doing photography and also different shows for the podcast. And so I feel super blessed for that, and also super overwhelmed because got to make sure I get everything ready and stuff. But I'm super excited for it.
I love it. I'm so happy for you, Alexia. So proud. I'm so excited seeing you continue to grow and do more photography and be really comfortable and become more comfortable, taking photos and putting yourself out there. Because I know, it's an artistic endeavor. It can be a little scary and very vulnerable. Mm-hmm. So just, giving you a shout out for, taking that leap and keeping it going, because you are an amazing photographer. And I'm super psyched for everybody to see your work more and for you to work with more bands, because they're all going to be like, oh no, we got to work with Alexia's. And just make sure you don't forget about us little people. Okay, just make sure.
Y'all will always be beside me, and that's not the way, So I love y'all so much, and thank you so much. It really does mean a lot, and for the support, because definitely don't get it from, a lot of people don't understand art, and I think that that's the great thing to have about y'all and the support, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we have a show coming up in a few episodes. We're going to just be talking with women photographers. So I'm really excited for that. Obviously, Alexis will be leading the conversation, but I'm psyched to hear all of their experiences and what they've learned and what it's been like for them on the road. Shout out to Amy Keiko. There's so many to shout out, but I wanted to specifically shout out Amy because she's so great and such a great support for all of us. All right, into our running segments. How did we get down? We're going to talk about one of my faves, Earthling or Alien. A few facts about EOA. It premiered on November 6th, 2020 at South Farms in Morris, Connecticut. Goose has played this song 23 times. I can't believe I've heard it as many as I have, considering how few times they played it compared to other songs. It also appears on their Denver November 21st, 2021 album release. So it is on streaming. It's available to add as sounds on all the platforms, which is also not something we always get. And why so many of us were so excited for the New Year's Eve release, because we got Thatch on streaming, which I was really excited about. So of course we start with our round robin questions. First is like, what do you take away from this song when it's played or when you listen to it? And let's start with you, Chelsea.
First of all, this is one of my favorite Goose songs of all time. I love this song so much. I was really excited when I saw we were talking about this today. So they played this song at every single run I saw for my first 6 runs I did or something.
Wow.
I saw this song so many times. I swear to you, I saw this song so many times live. I was at that Mission Ballroom show. They opened with it. amazing. But this song to me just is about feeling different than other people around you or society, maybe. And so to me, this makes me feel like I'm different and it's a good thing. Like, I don't know, exactly where I'm from or who I am maybe, but I'm figuring it out. And I know that I don't have to like fall in line with everyone else. So plus it's so dancey and jammy. Just when it opens up, it's like my favorite song to dance to at a Goose show. So
it's so
just
dancey.
Yeah, it just makes you feel good about being you is how I feel. Like so I just love this song.
I love that sentiment, Chelsea. You always have such great like ways of looking at lyrics and songs. I love all of y'all, of course, but just this particular thing you bring to this show is so valuable, and so I want to thank you for that. Hannah, how about you? What's your takeaway from this song when it's played or when you listen to it when it comes on? What's going on inside you?
Well, at first I thought it was just like a silly song, and I feel like I find myself thinking this a lot about Peter songs. But then when you listen to the lyrics, you're like, oh, like there's actually a little commentary on like global warming and capitalism. That's kind of cool. But you can still dance to it. It's such a mix of emotion. And then I would say one of my favorite moments, one of my favorite shows to listen to is the Nashville show when they play this, because Peter goes off and he's just like, I don't know what's going on. Take it, Rick. Like, I don't know. That's just one of my favorite moments to listen to. And honestly, that show, because of that song, was like, I listened to it more than any show for such a long time that it was like, to me, that show represents, and that song specifically represents me going from like a casual fan who sometimes listened to Goose on Nugs to like, I think this is all I'm listening to right now.
I love it. Earthling or Alien is gateway to obsession. It's the best. I love that. Alexius, how about you? What's your takeaway from Earthling or Alien?
I definitely feel like it's just, are you Earthling or Alien? I definitely feel like an alien sometimes, just are we here, the difference between people, it's either you're in this group or you're in this group. And we're kind of made to feel that way. And so I take that away, and that we can kind of relate with others if we're in this group or this group.
I love it. For me, I do love Peter songs, generally speaking. I guess if you asked me if I was Paul or John, I'd say I was a Paul, Hannah. But yeah, but I love this one because it is a Peter song. I love Peter's vocals. I love when he's on lead. I just, there's something about the tone of his voice that really connects with me. It feels like a friend. It feels like somebody is like, it feels personal. It feels very, very connected. And also his songs are much more thematic versus Rick's, which often are storytelling songs. And so it's nice to have that balance of the two. That's one of the big, great things about Goose. And so this one obviously is very thematic. And the first time I heard it, I was like, Earthling or Alien, that's interesting. Especially because the vibe of the music is very otherworldly. It's a little like out there but super dancey. So that's the things I take away from it. And and then when I started like really digging into the lyrics, I was like, oh, Peter's really trying to say something here, which he almost always is. It's not frivolous. It's very much like to a very specific point that he's trying to make, or certainly an idea he'd been trolling around in his head and put, to music and to lyrics, which is amazing. And so, of course, next we talk about which lyrics hit you, hit each of us. I'll start with mine. I always just go nuts for "You Think They Notice When What's in the Air. There's no planet B for the billionaire." I particularly think I love this lyric because these billionaires are actually trying to find a planet B right now. And so to me, it's like such a direct commentary on the current state of the world, and just a direct jab. Like you think there's a planet B, but there isn't. Like, this is the only one we have. And your little plans to have a second one, like it's not going to work. So maybe you should rethink that plan a little bit. Chelsea, how about you? What's the lyrics that you love?
Well, really, I want to say this whole song is the lyrics that I love because it's amazing. But the one I chose was, "Where have we gone? Where should we go? Are we from this planet? I don't know." And that is one, like I was talking about earlier, of feeling different and just trying to figure out maybe yourself and what you want to do, kind of how your past has affected you and things. But what I really like in this verse is it's like the only time in the song, I think, where he uses we. The rest of the song is I.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like that this piece just conveys that, like, you may feel different than people around you or society, what society's telling you to do, but there are other people that feel that same way too, that we can come together and make something beautiful. Maybe we're still all trying to figure it out, but we can do it together. So that to me is really beautiful.
Oh, I love that. Alexius, how about you? Lyrics from EOA.
Oh, goodness. So this is kind of just like the whole song. This is really hard to choose a spot, but I'm just going to go with this one. It was the last one I looked at because I kept switching. But now and then I float up in the air. I look for my house, but it's just not there. And to me, I take that as, he's looking the whole time, billionaires are trying to build their own planets and like I've always said, I feel like the big companies are always trying to tame us, and that from the time that we're young, that they're just teaching us like, okay, you go to school, you do this is what you do, and trying to tame us from the time that we're very young. And so they're always eager to tame the flock. And then but now and then I float up in the air and I look for my house, but it's just not there. Like, he's trying or has tried to do that, but he just doesn't fit into that category no matter what, like here. And so he floats up in the air and he just can't find where he fits in, because no matter what he's looking at, he's just like, yeah, no, I don't fit in there. That's not my spot to be. And that's kind of what I take from it, because I feel that's just the way that I feel a lot of times, that I'm just like, well, and I guess that's why I so strongly connect with the Goose world, because I'm like, wow, I found my place to be, like people that I'm like, and, nowhere else do I find that. So, but yeah, that's what I take from that. And that's the thing that I like out of it.
Awesome. Hannah, what's your top EOA lyric for you?
I have to second what you said, Leslie, because since I was a teenager, I've always really appreciated lyrics that are like tongue in cheek and sort of almost facetious, like you're drawing attention to this social problem of like global warming, climate change, and capitalist, like anti-capitalist sentiment, but then it's also in like this really tongue-in-cheek fun kind of way that I really appreciate. And then also just like the whole, like how catchy like Earthling or Alien is. And like I've done like an Alien theme before for New Year's Eve last year in Chicago. So that also just adds a fun level that, you can dress up in as an alien.
As an alien. I love it. Yeah. Last question about Earthling or Aliens. What energy does EOA bring to the set? I'll kick things off by just noting one, we all said how dancey it is, but it's not just dancey, it's sexy and dancey. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Peter was like, I'm going to write this really deep lyrical content and then I'm going to pair it with some of the sexiest music that I've written at the same time. So I find myself doing a lot of like body rolls and like slow, like, that when I'm dancing to this song, it's super dancey, but it's also like very grounded. And it's not one where you'd be like jumping up and down or anything like that. It's like slow and like we're all like moving together. I don't know. I just find it to be a very sexy song in terms of the musical side of things. So that's the energy that I feel like it brings, because it comes on and everyone's like, yeah. And then it just starts being very like,
it's so vibey. You're just like, da-da-da, da-da-da.
Yeah, it's vibey.
Yeah, it is definitely. As you can't see, but we can see each other.
Yeah, we're all just like started vibing. Yeah, it's funny. I can't wait till we start doing live shows because it's really funny. We vibe immediately. Yeah.
I think it is boppy though. Like especially like clearly Leslie is in a straight cis white dude, because all my straight cis white dude friends, which is like usually who I see Goose with, they like when that song comes on, they're like bopping around. So like when you said that, Leslie, I was like, oh, funny, because like. I feel like it's a boppy song for a lot of people I know.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I definitely am not. There's some songs like I start jumping as soon as the freaking riff hits. I'm up and down in the air. This one, it's like my feet are planted and it's all like gyration of hips and movement of neck and all of that.
We need an
kind of
Earthling or
movement
Alien
happens.
together now. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, we definitely have to.
I will take an Earthling and an Alien every
Yes.
single show of my life. I love this song live. So much.
Awesome. I'm going to turn it over to you, Chelsea, for a fan art spotlight. Who are we talking about this week?
Okay, so since we are talking about tour, and I know in the last time we talked about going on tour and being in the rail, Leslie had mentioned the need for sunglasses for the bright lights, Getty's light shining up there in the front. So I thought we would highlight Pretty Girl Shades by Meghan Corman McNeill. She has, and there's other amazing sunglass artists out there too, but I came across her and she does mostly custom. So you might not see a ton like on her Instagram and everything, but the ones she sent me pics of are had lyrics on them. So she has the cool jewels. They're really bejeweled and nice, but she also does lyrics. And again, she does custom, so you can get whatever lyrics you want. But the one she sent me had "So Ready for This." One of them said "Seep Up All the Light," which I'm kind of leaning towards that one. And then one of them said "'Cause I'm Just Fine," which I love too.
Oh my gosh. We need to have her make a Goose Chick podcast one. I'm gonna hit her up. I'm gonna hit her up.
So yeah, I'm trying to decide what lyrics I want because I'm definitely going to get some from
Was she
her.
at Legend Valley by chance? Because I talked to someone who did a lot of custom sunglasses at Legend Valley.
I don't know if she was. You can hit her up at @prettygirl_shades on Instagram.
I will. Because I wear prescription sunglasses, so I would have to send her my sunglasses.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great
idea. I didn't
idea.
really think about that because I'm the same way
that's
too.
why I would need someone to do a custom order for me, which, some people just like do the lyrics, they pre-do it, and they have like a bunch of inventory, so I can't really get those.
Yeah, she definitely does them custom. So like I said, there's not a ton of Goose ones on her specific page, though I'm sure if you ask her, she'll send you pictures in that. And again, whatever lyrics you want to use. So I'm really thinking hard about this because it's going to be a big decision of what lyrics I want on this. So shout out to Pretty Girl Shades and Meghan. And then I also wanted to just quickly shout out, since we're talking about tour, there are sometimes different tables set up at the concert venues with different resources for your fans as well. And these are by fans that are set up. So one of them is the Hot Tea Party, which is the clean and sober group for Goose fans. So if you are clean and sober and going to Goose shows, they usually have a table set up somewhere. You can find them, talk to them, get some info. And then also always want to shout out Groove Safe and Ashley. We love her so much. She usually has a table set up too. I don't know if she's going on tour or doing the cap run, but if not, you can always check her out online. But she usually has a table as well if you want to chat with her about Groove Safe and what you can do to keep shows safe. So wanted to shout them out as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chelsea. I'm definitely going to be checking out Meghan's inventory and see what I need to get. Right. Podcast Blowdown. This week, I am going to be spotlighting Notes from America with Kai Wright, which is a show about the unfinished business of our history and its grip on the future. The most recent episode delves deep into the realities for Black farmers in Mississippi in the past and today. It's a great episode, or it's a great show to listen to kind of combat all of this anti-history that we are seeing around the country and in different school boards and academic spaces. So I just thought it would be a good one for folks to tap into, learn some history and get it straight from folks that experienced it themselves. So definitely check that out. Notes from America with Kai Wright. We'll have links to the notes, to the show in the notes. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, our special guest, Jason Lipot, will be joining us to discuss all about tour and how we need to get ready for it. So we'll be right back.
Where should we go? Are we from this planet? I don't know. Are we Earthling or alien? Earthling or alien? Earthling
Welcome back, everyone. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we have a special guest with us today. So excited to welcome Jason Lipot to the show. Full disclosure, yes, Jason is Alexia's husband. He is from Mount Airy, North Carolina. He makes reverse ice tie-dyes, which are very cool. Y'all should check that out. And has been making fan Goose art as well, which is really amazing. He's been doing posters, stickers, pins. He also enjoys playing the drums and making arts and crafts of all kinds. As I said, he's married to, I'm going to quote him here, the beautiful Alexius Lipot, and has 2 wonderful daughters. And obviously, he's a huge Goose fan. So welcome to Goose Chicks Podcast, Jason. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I think you're the 4th male guest that we've had on so far. So you're in a very small number, but that you've all been amazing guests. So I'm really excited. And as we said, tour is around the corner. I think the day we're recording this, we're like 17 days out or something from the Cap Run. So it's like, it's coming. And so we're going to have a general conversation about tour, what people should expect, how to best prepare themselves, and just have a really open conversation. And Jason is a well-worn rail rider, not just for Goose, but for lots of other music and other shows. So he's here to lend his personal expertise to the conversation. I'm super excited to get into this. Also, I'm really excited for tour. And so, yeah. Let's get to this. As I said, Cap Run is right around the corner. And if you all are listening to this, we're 2 weeks out from that, which is a little wild. So I'll start with this general question was, how excited are you on a scale of 1 to Trevor Weeks bombs about the end of Goose Drought being over? And I'll start with our guest, Jason. Yeah, Jason, how are you feeling? We're in the home stretch of the drought right now.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for the drought to be over for sure. Ready to see some Goose fam and definitely feel those bombs for sure. Definitely, absolutely. I'm so pumped.
So excited. Chelsea, how about you? How are you feeling? I know you made the leap and like, yep, I'm going to the Cap. So yeah, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I still don't have tickets, but I'm going. So shout out to anyone who has tickets. I will take them. This was last minute for me. So I'm like, whoa, this is coming up fast. Feels like for me because it's only 2 weeks away. So I'm excited though. I'm excited to see all of you and get to hopefully go to all the Cap shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
If anybody listening has tickets to the Cap Run, Chelsea is in need. I'm sure other people are too, and so is Hannah. Well, I'm going to you next, Hannah. How are you feeling? What shows do you still need tickets for?
Okay, I've come to terms with the fact that I can afford the resale Sunday ticket. So, and I have Thursday from Muse. So Friday and Saturday make me nervous, especially all the memers out there are making like every other meme is about the Cap Run and how everyone needs tickets. And I'm just like, stop it. I feel personally attacked. But we have a bunch of friends who are going to be around. So we'll find some stuff to get into. And I'm starting off my pre-tour with some Billy Strings in North Carolina, but nice. The weekend before the Cap Run. So
awesome. That's a great way to kind of get into the vibes. Alexia is coming to you next. How are you feeling? Yeah. What's going on in your head as we are hurtling towards the Cap Run?
I'm super pumped. I'm so excited. So, the first part of Goose Drought really got me really depressed time, I think, from not being able to see my friends and Goose family. And so you helped that, and you, Leslie, helped with that. And so we had scheduled a date to get together and, so with the Goose fam. And then I was just like, okay, this is what I need. So then after that, we've been getting together with Goose fam. So I'm really excited to get back with everyone is my point on that. I'm very excited to see everyone and feel those Trev bombs and see Ben just like, getting it on the drums, and Peter's smile, and Rick's just shredding it, and Jeb just getting on the percussions. I'm ready for it. Definitely that. I'm going to do the corny. I'm so ready for it.
So ready. It's funny. I've been having two feelings coming back and forth. One is I feel like it feels like back to school in some ways, because it's like, oh, we're getting back, we're going to see our favorite teachers and we're going to see all that. And then it also feels like a family reunion at the same time. So it's like, those are the two vibes that I've had, sort of in my head as I start to think about the long list of travel that we have ahead of us. I've been like kind of having that vibe of like, oh, it's going to feel like back to school because it's exciting. And you've got like your new sharpener and your new pencils. And for us, that means new slaps. Be on the lookout for Cap Run specific slaps from Goose Chicks podcast. And some other fun stuff we have coming up, which I can't talk about now, but you'll be excited to get them and see them. And then the other part of the family union is just, as you said, seeing our Goose fam and seeing everyone that we know in one way, form, or another. I know Drew has been like, just in so many chats with his folks, his little crew that he has, just like planning where they want to eat and all these different things. So it's super cool, and I'm excited for it as well. Now, I have to say, on last week's show, I just listened to it this morning. We're taping on a Wednesday this week because I have some work later. So I listened to our show from last week, which was Yoga of Goose. And one of the questions I asked at the top of the show of everybody was, how many dates will Goose announce between now and when they play their first note at the Cap? And already all of our predictions are just, I think Alexius, you said 6, and I think they already did 6, like up to now. I think if not, it's definitely
Goose,
5.
cut it off. Cut it off.
No, we need more dates.
We need more North Carolina dates. If y'all could just, pinpoint a few North Carolina, South Carolina spaces to play in, that would be awesome. And shout out to Athens. So glad y'all are getting a show. That's really awesome. And then of course Louisville just got announced as well. We were just talking about that before we hopped on the show. But yeah, I'm not going to ever ask that question again, is my lesson, because they definitely are going to just do what they do. And I'm just going to not ask that question again on the show, because we're like, maybe 2, maybe 3. Alexa's like, well, I'm going to go high and say 6. And it'll probably be 30 by the time we get to the Cap.
Probably so.
So, yeah, well, I won't ask that question again, but it was fun to think through. And they were like, yeah, right. Here you go, ladies. So obviously we've got a bunch of single and multiple venue, single venue dates coming up, but also a ton of festivals that Goose is playing. They keep adding more festivals as well as single dates also. So I'm curious, are folks excited more about festival shows? Or what are you hoping for? I know we've had a little bit of discussion, and then we'll talk a little bit about festival versus regular, but I'm curious, just are there some specific festivals, Jason, that you're like, yeah, I really want to go to that one? And is Goose the driving factor, or is it like a calculation of like Goose, and then what are the other people I want to see as well there?
I'm definitely pumped to go to Floyd Fest in July, and Goose is definitely going to be there, but also Eggy's going to be there, Neighbor's going to be there, Circles Around the Sun, the Black Crows, Sheryl Crow. So I mean, just a lot of great variety.
Yeah, that lineup is stellar. I was like, that's one you're going to have to like really like hydrate, because you won't want to leave. Like literally, no. Some festivals you go to and like, okay, there's like a 3-hour break. I can go take a quick nap. Not Floyd Fest. There's like just something really significant going on. Alexia, you too. I know you're on a Floyd Fest. Any other festivals that you're like, I'm so excited for this one?
I'm really excited for Levitate. I'm a big reggae girl. And so literally, I know that y'all have heard me say a million times, Stick Figure is my jam, and Goose. And they're what brought me out of a lot of the COVID junk and depression. And so, and just a lot of things. So just to have them at one festival, I've just been begging for this for a couple of years. And when they put it out, I probably about passed out on the floor, like, like one of those extremely dramatic, pass out type of moments. I felt that way. So I'm very, very excited for Levitate. And just still putting out there to the Goose Gods that a Fred 2 will come along. So, so I'm really hoping that comes along. So I'm still just going to manifest that and say I'm looking forward to that one.
Keep manifesting. I love it. Manifest. Chelsea, how about you? Are you doing, I think you're doing at least 1 or 2 festivals, right?
Yeah. Full disclosure, I've never really been to a festival.
Oh,
So,
Chelsea's getting into her first festival. I love it.
I've done like the 1 day type thing once, you just go.
Yeah.
I saw them I saw Goose at Sacred Rose in August, was it? So anyways, but I'm doing summer camp for sure, which is super close to me. And so I don't know why I've never gone. So I'm excited for my first festival experience and see what that's all about and listen to what advice you guys have, because I'm like, I don't know. I'm going with friends. I mean, I have people that have gone, but that will be a new thing for me. So new experiences, new adventures.
Yes. As of right now, we're doing days in between. We're doing Resonance, allegedly. I don't know if that's really going to happen, but allegedly. And then, we added Levitate. I'm really excited for Levitate as well. I felt like the universe was listening to Drew and I. We were literally on our couch like 2 weeks ago, and we were like, oh, this year, like, we have to see Brandi Carlile live. Like, it's enough. Like, we love her. And I think it was the Grammys. She played again at the Grammys and also won. And I was like, this is it. 2023, we've got to see Brandi Carlile. And like 2 days later, boom, Levitate drops. And I was looking at Drew and I was like, I don't think we have a choice. We asked for a thing, and here it is. With Goose and Tab and all these other excellent acts. I just was like, I don't think we have an option. Plus, we're like already going to be up in Saratoga for SPAC. It's only like a 3.5 hour drive. Obviously, it makes our drive home longer, but I still was like, it felt like it was made for us, right? Because Levitate could have been in California and we were in Saratoga, and it wouldn't have made any sense at all. So I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for Days because, for those who don't know, they added a show at Tipitina's, a late night show, the last night of Days, which is, they're calling it the Days Between Band. And I'm super excited about that. Peter and Rick are playing along with Jen Hartwig. Just a huge amount of amazing artists are going to be playing there. So I'm excited for that because one, I love Tipitina's. For those who didn't know, I lived in New Orleans for 2 years. Drew and I did right before we got married. In fact, when we got married, we were living in New Orleans. And so Tipitina's has been a site for some really amazing musical moments personally. And so it's going to be awesome to see these folks play together, and just the perfect kind of cap to Days. And we already were not leaving till the next day. So we just looked at each other like, yeah, we've got to definitely for sure get tickets. So very excited about that. So let's talk about that. Let's help Chelsea kind of dissect what her expectations should be around festival shows versus regular shows. Jason, what would you say is the defining difference between a festival show and a regular show?
Well, I mean, there's so many different types of energies because you have, multiple different kinds of bands, and then, of course it's outside. And so, the heat has a lot to do with it too, and the weather. And so, that could play a big factor in that. So just, you just got to be kind of prepared, going into festivals. But regular shows, with festivals, you usually get one set from bands, right. And so with shows, you get, with Goose, you get 2 full sets, which I enjoy a little bit more.
Yeah. A lot more for me, I would say a lot more. I mean, it's great. Yeah. It's great anytime to hear Goose, right? But yeah, I think that is one of the things I noted. We went to ACL Fest last year just because we were already there for the Austin show. So we just went to them playing, and they finished, and literally everybody in the rail was like, that's it? Like they were so crestfallen. We were like, that's it? And there wasn't other good music there. There was. We ended up going to see like the Chili Peppers, and we saw Eggy, not Eggy, we saw Spoon, we saw the Marias, we saw some great music, but it definitely did not fill up my Goose cup in the same way. So that's one thing I would say is kind of like temper your expectations and know you're going to get pretty much like a taste of Goose, right, at a festival versus Goose.
Exactly.
And you'll also be there with a lot of other folks that don't necessarily know much about the band. So They may not know when to say certain things, and they're just learning about a band, or maybe this is their first time seeing them. So yeah, a lot of that is interesting too. Alexius, what about you? Festivals versus regular shows?
Festivals, it's a lot of bands. Like Jason said, the heat, and just the way that I would say festivals are is it's just more of a big social event, and it's basically set break on the whole time, not the whole time, but you're like bouncing from place to place, and there's different music and everywhere that you go. And so it's just don't pack as many clothes, because you're not going to wear as many clothes as you think you are. So because it just gets really hot, and on like day 2 or 3, you're just like, I don't care what I'm wearing at this point. You'll just go back and forth. And then regular shows, it's not as hard on your body. You are just there for a little bit of time. If you're rail riding, then you're basically tailgating in line all day. But festivals, you're going to get a lot more tired because you're not going to have as much sleep. It's basically equivalent to, what a Goose 3-4 night run is, and with a lot of other different types of bands. So that's and you're going to spend a lot of money at festivals.
So much money.
unless you do the tricks that we will talk about. That can be a big thing, is how much money that you can spend at festivals, unless you get savvy about it and take the right things.
Yes, we're going to get into that right now. First, I want to just ask quickly, obviously things have changed in the Goose world so much over the last couple of years, especially we've talked on this show about what a blistering year 2022 was for them. I was listening to the New Year's show, and Peter ominously said, or cheerily said at the end, we got so many great things coming up in 2023, and it felt like some sort of like declaration. And I was like, oh my gosh! Now I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? And I heard it in the time, but I was too in a euphoric state to receive it. But listening to it again, I was like, oh wait, one, Peter doesn't say anything for no reason. So that felt like a very like, hey guys, prepare yourselves, get ready. We're about to blast off, which is really awesome. But the question I have is like, is it worth it to go to a music festival if you only want to see one band? Like, does that make sense? We'll start there and then have some follow-up questions. So yeah, that's my first question. I will say we went to ACL Fest just to see Goose and definitely regretted it. The rest of the headliners, like we had seen the Chili Peppers like a few weeks before. They were, Spoon's nice. I didn't need to see them. And this was more proximity than anything else. We just spent so much time walking. So that was just my experience there, that it wasn't worth it for the one set. Goose has been very good. Some of these festivals are doing 2 sets and they let you know in advance. So you're going to get a little bit more than that. But for the most part, they play one night, one set, and they're out. So yeah. How do you go about deciding yes or no to a festival? Hannah, let's start with you. What are the things that kind of run through your head as you make those decisions?
I've actually had really positive experiences with going to festivals and then like having to be sort of last minute and just really having a good time. Like I remember one time me and my friend Martin got, I think, free tickets to Nelsonville Music Festival at the last minute. I really only wanted to see the Sunday headliner, which was Nico Case. Flaming Lips were one of the headliners, and I was like on the fence about them. But I had heard that if you are going to see the Flaming Lips, you should see them at a festival because like that's where they sort of shine. And we had a blast. Fun fact, there's a picture of me engaging in adult activities. And I'm on the picture of the Nelsonville local newspaper. And it's like me in a bathing suit with the light up hula hoop with sunglasses on.
Yes. That would be my profile picture forever.
It was.
Definitely forever.
Trust me. So that was a really magical time. I went to Bonnaroo. The only year I ever went to Bonnaroo was last minute. I was like, Paul McCartney is headlining. I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to do stuff like this. I went with one other person, which is like a rookie mistake for a festival that big. We got brought in by the people next to us. It was magical. It was awesome. With that being said, I am old now, and I don't know how much, 4-day camping festivals I can do without prioritizing like, okay, this has a lot of people I want to see. But one of the other things I look at is like for summer camp, I'm prioritizing that because that's one of the festivals that the highest number of friends can attend, if that makes sense. So like versus like some of the other festivals Goose is playing, I'm like, oh, only 2 friends are going, or only, so I guess what I'm trying to say is I care about the overall experience.
Yeah, you care about who you're going with. That's
not just the headliners. Like
sense.
I love all live music, so except for metal. So yeah, I guess like I think about it holistically.
I love that. That's such a great way to approach it. Alexius, how about you? What is your kind of criteria as you're evaluating festivals that you might want to go to?
My criteria is definitely the same. If a bunch of friends are going that I don't get to see as often are there, and music is definitely a criteria because I love music so much that I just cannot bring myself. And I guess I'm a cheapskate at this one. I cannot bring myself to spend that much money when I can break it down and say, okay, I can go to this many shows of what I do like, or I can travel to this country. And that's the way I break it down is I'm like, oh man, Jason and I both have to go and it's going to cost this much money. That's like 1 ticket to Europe, that's so many tickets to, so many tickets to Goose, so many tickets to be able to go to different things. So, but that being said, I always end up going to a few festivals because the experience is so amazing. So Floyd Fest is a great experience. It just has a magical overall feeling experience. So a lot of times that's the experience, exactly what Hannah said, the experience and how accommodating the festivals are, because if you go to festivals and per se, some of them say, oh, we have showers and they don't have showers. That's miserable for so many days. I am completely down to pay to go take a shower 100%. So, so it's what reputations that they have, what they've proven that they can and what they can't do. And so, yeah, it's the experience. And if festivals have failed to provide those experiences, then I'm definitely not wanting to spend my money to go there.
Absolutely. All right. Jason.
Can I add one thing real quick about the shower thing that you mentioned? The best $20 I ever spent in my entire life was access to the fancy bathrooms at Bonnaroo, because I was on my period. And so just being able to have AC, being able to wash my hands and just like have that level, like that was more important to me than anything else, literally anything else in my life. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we're a podcast about women, and I wish that festivals were more accommodating for when you're on your period at festivals, because that shit is not cute. And so I just,
Thank you. That's why we need some showers. And so yes, that's exactly right. So a lot of it is the experience and knowing that.
It's so interesting you mentioned that, Hannah, because remember when we were talking about Western Sun had put all of the like sanitary stuff in the bathroom, in the women's bathrooms during, was that Goosemas? I think it was Goosemas.
Yes.
They might have done Goosemas, but I know they did New Year's Eve.
And it was New Year's Eve.
Yes, it was New Year's Eve because they had a table.
And just remember, all of us were like, everybody I talked to was like, oh my God, that was amazing. We can't believe, it was so great of y'all to do that. And it's a small thing, quote unquote, but for women, it makes a huge difference, especially when they basically make you bring in like the tiniest bag possible to these venues, and you can't even bring a lot of stuff into most of them. Not to transition directly from menstruation talk to Jason, but that's what we're going to do.
He's got 2 daughters and a wife. He's
surrounded by it all. Yes.
2 female dogs too. Like there's no testosterone but Jason in the house.
So Jason, how do you, what are the things that make you be like, no, I have to go to this festival? Because like, what is your kind of, how do you stack things and the importance?
Well, I guess it would be like, of course, what bands would be playing there. And of course, like if a band, if there's that festival is close to you and, it's a reasonable ticket price or whatever, but if the band's not touring close to you, that's when it comes like, okay, well, they're not going to be anywhere close except for at this festival.
Right.
Maybe we can get like a day ticket or something, So, but yeah, that's what That, or usually if there's Goose playing, it's just like, yeah, we're going to get these tickets.
No, that's really smart though, Jason, to point out that sometimes the festival is the only opportunity that lots of fans have to see some bands, see Goose even. Right. They don't tour everywhere. I mean, this year it seems like they are. But yeah, I mean, if you're in a place and it's like, they don't normally come to wherever, that's a really good point. That's a good way to see bands you love when they're not touring where you live. Yeah.
If you live in a Goose desert.
Yes, the Goose Desert.
The Goose Desert, right.
That's also a great way to save money there's a lot of us that can't afford these festivals. Some of these festivals are insanely priced insanely high. So if you can't go to all 3, 4, or 5 days of it, grab a day pass, see which one, who's playing where and which day that you can grab. And it's a great way to experience. If you have never experienced a music festival and you want to experience it, but you're nervous about going by yourself, grab a day pass, go in, check it out. And then you can head home, afterwards and then grab your group together. And also about going to music festivals, for example, Justin Cooper for this past Legend Valley, he hit me up online and he's like, hey, are you going to Legend Valley with Goose? And I was like, yeah, of course. And he's like, I don't have anyone to camp with. Do you mind if I camp with you? And of course I had to, I talked to him for a bit and he seemed really cool. And we were like, yeah, that's cool. And so it's awesome to be able to connect with others that through the group and to be able to go. Hannah, you were saying that you didn't want to go to one of the festivals by yourself and, and staying with someone that was clutch. And so just reaching out and trying to find someone that that's going. And even if you don't know them that well, just, someone that you're going with you or someone going with you, that always makes it better.
Yeah, but don't ask me because I don't camp at festivals. So just take me off the list.
Oh, I get down with my work self when I'm at festivals. Like, people were complaining about Legend Valley and how there wasn't showers and they were promised. I was like, these people thought they were going to shower? Like, obviously, you haven't been to Legend Valley. Has a rich history of people rolling around in the mud.
Third world showered up at
any old school fish festival because all of it is sus. Very. Okay, moving on. I want to talk about if there are any additional tips you all have around saving money at festivals besides just the one-day passes. So this is open for anyone on the floor if there's some things that you noticed or realized. One thing I'll mention before I throw it over to anybody else is they give a lot of these festivals will give you like a wristband that you connect your like debit card or your card to. Just be careful with that because it can feel like you're not actually spending money when it's just your hand going down. It's a very different sensation than pulling out your card or actually handing over cash. And it can give you this like feeling that, it's just this, it's just that. And then you get home and it's like, $900 that you spent over 4 days that you didn't intend to. So they remove those barriers because they know psychologically it actually changes the spending habits of all of us. They claim it's for security, blah, blah, blah. But I know the real deal. They do this because it makes it way easier for people to spend money. And it actually removes a specific psychological barrier to spending money. So that's if you're going to a festival that has that wristband, payment thing, just be aware of that. And every time you go to use it, just think about the price that's in front of you and if you're okay spending that money as you would be thinking if you were pulling out your wallet and pulling money out or your card. Because I know that's a very different calculation when I'm thinking of it that way. So I just want to offer that as not a way to save money, but just a different way to think about money at these specific festivals that use wristbands to allow you to pay for things. I'll open the floor to everybody else.
Very interesting. So Jason and I were talking about this with it coming up. And so a big way to save it is checking out what the festivals allow you to have and what they don't allow you to have. Some festivals allow you to have alcohol and you need to check out, how much alcohol they will allow you to have and how much they won't allow you to have but if they'll allow you to have liquor or beer or what they allow. And so taking that with you, also taking non-perishable food and snack foods and stuff that are easy to get to and that you don't have to cook as much. Like we'll cook breakfast and we'll do, but those are really important things because you'll end up spending a ton of money on food because you just don't feel like, cooking this and you don't feel like getting this out because you're so tired. So it's really good if you like what I like to do is I cook like 3 to 4 pounds of chicken before, and we take tortillas and lettuce. And so we'll make like these chicken Caesar wraps or chicken salad wraps. And so it's really quick and easy to put together. It's cool, because the chicken's cold and stuff. It's cool and it's refreshing. And we'll take our drinks with us, our waters with us, and, any type of food that you can take like that. And also taking a big thing of like a big 5-gallon, 10-gallon thing of water, a couple of them so that you can use them for washing your hands off or washing and having a bowl to put water in. And so you're not having to go all the way to the washing stations or getting things out like that. And you don't really realize how much that you use water until you're having to walk back and forth to those water stations. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I really wish I would have brought this. And it's just, you can spend less than $10 bringing all that water in. And so what are a few other things? I know the things that pop to my mind. What do y'all have?
I would say, especially if there's only 1 or 2 people you want to see, look into the venue's policy on volunteering for part of your ticket. Like I know Bonnaroo has a really good process for that. And so things like that. For really big festivals like that, you can do like there'll be like websites where you can coordinate rideshare. So like when I went to Bonnaroo, we took this guy, no idea who he was, picked him up on the way. It seemed really legit because it was like through the official Bonnaroo channels. He actually had to volunteer for most of it to get his ticket paid for. So we never even really saw him. And then he rode back with us. So just like sharing money or like saving on money with stuff like that. Also know what you're getting yourself into, especially if you don't have a lot of experience. I was working at a music festival a couple years ago, and there was it was a younger crowd. It was an EDM crowd. And a lot of these kids had no idea what to expect at a music festival. And then it was really poorly organized. So people got separated from their stuff and from the people they were with. It was really, really unsafe. Especially for 20-year-old women walking around by themselves, and they didn't have any of their equipment with them. So they couldn't set up their tent or their camp. They couldn't find people that they were with. So thinking about just like some of those aspects of like, if you get lost from your group, what's the plan? Are you going to have to trek a bunch of your stuff from point A to point C that's almost a mile away? Then maybe you want to invest in like some sort of like dolly or wagon or something like that. Just knowing what you're getting yourself into, I guess.
Definitely. That's a great one for safety and very important to make sure that you have someone with you. And if you're by yourself, get to know your neighbors and people around you and let them know that you're by yourself and kind of what your plan is, find a friend quickly. And
even if there's a group, introduce yourself to your neighbors, like you would at a non-festival show, non-camping show. Mm-hmm. And this just reminds me, and I'm of course dating myself, but like back in the day at fish festivals, there was like a physical message board. I'm not joking. It's like a giant like message board. And you would literally write down your name and whoever you were, and you'd like tack it up there and be like, meet me back here at 3 p.m. And then they'd see it, and then you'd know to meet back there at 3. So I know we're all into technology or whatever, but I actually think that would be a really great thing to have at any festival because one, like cell phones tend to stop working when you go into festival spaces, especially if they don't have like dedicated Wi-Fi because everybody's using them. And 2, it's nice to just say, hey, if we get separated, like on the hour, we'll meet at the message board. And if they don't have one, you can pick whatever, if they have a water tower, if they have like a main area, So yeah, I think that's really important. Just have like a designated place. Like if we get separated or if we separate, that we know every day at 3:30, we're going to all at least stop here for 5 minutes and make sure whoever wanted to meet up with us does.
That's a great idea. Also, remember your tarps, people. Tarps are not that expensive to invest in. And it seems always at a music festival that it is going to pour down rain and you are going to be rolling around in mud. So a big thing, we always have this big tarp that it's probably 2 or 3 times the size that it needs to be. And we have it folded up under our tent, and it's big enough that we can kind of flip up. So that way, if it's raining, that it can go all the, under it and each way. And when we're setting up our camp, we are looking at this, like how it's sloping, how it's going to go. So that way you can prepare yourself, because it's going to rain at a certain point in time. And making sure that you have a space that you can go in, that don't forget your rain guard for your tent. I see so many people that happens to, and it's really sad. It's not even just for the rain, but at nighttime when it dews, all that comes on top of you and you are soaking wet and it is so cold. And I learned this at Floyd Fest. I was sleeping in the hammock one night and I was like, oh yeah, I'm good. No, I woke up soaking wet, freezing to death because the dew was coming down. And I was like, my teeth were just chattering. I was like, oh my gosh, what is wrong? And so a lot of things that we learn off of mistakes that we've made over the years, that's definitely one. And keeping a water bottle with you, the things that you take to shows are things that you definitely need to take to festivals. And there's nothing wrong with being over-prepared at a festival, because I don't really think that you can be over-prepared at a festival. You will always be under-prepared. Something's going to happen. And we have a list of things that we keep, and we literally just have buckets of stuff, like our festival camping stuff. And at the top of it, I should have grabbed it, we have a list of things, like a checkoff list. Okay, you need to bring this, you need to bring this.
Yeah. We're going to need you to take a quick screenshot of that so we can include it on the show notes for the episode, Alexius. I'm just going to let you know that now.
I'll definitely do it. It's very, very important.
Definitely.
And if y'all are ever at a festival with us, like I accidentally messed up and bought this tent. We have 2 kids and us. And so we were like, okay, let's get a bigger tent that's not as small. Well, we ended up buying the Versailles tent. It's absolutely huge. We can fit 4 queen size mattresses in it. Like all of our friends could sleep in it at Legend Valley. Like when it was pouring down rain, everyone was in it.
There was like 12 people in there.
Yeah. And we have a pop-up canopy too. So over the top, coming out, there's that pop-up canopy and a long table so you can put everything on, like your bread and stuff. And then there's a bug tent. So we are super I am just crazy about it. I'm like, okay, well, just OCD about it. Not, I just have to have certain things.
She just wants to be comfortable.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah, we all do. That's the thing, right? We want to be comfortable. Yeah,
definitely.
And ponchos.
Look, I've literally brought filet mignon with me to festivals. And I'm not joking. That is a real story. It actually happened. So it is definitely about like what you need to be comfortable, or what you want to make the experience, the best. And the steak was good. I just say that it was very good.
Jason, what were you getting ready to say? Because that was super important.
Definitely sunscreen and Pedialyte.
And bug spray.
And bug spray, yeah. Because the elements will get you for sure.
And whether you think you need Pedialyte or not, just make sure you drink at least 1 a day. We usually drink 2 a day. And sometimes if it's so hot, we'll get to 3. And that's when it says it's dangerous on the pack. But make yourself at least drink 1 a day. And because you're definitely going to need that for sure. And so... yeah, but I can definitely take a picture of the things and just, you might just want to call us or I will come with you. If you're going to a festival, get my ticket. I'll just bring all, my whole festival pack with me. I have the wagon. I have everything. I'm good to go.
Alexius has wagon, will travel, Lipot. I love it.
I want to just go with you so I can eat well. Like, because you're talking about those chicken wraps and I was like, this is next level. This is too much.
That's so good. Yeah, well, you guys are getting me really excited because I've always been a camper. Like I go camping, tent camping all the time. I even went to Yellowstone and tent camped with all the bears and bison and all of that fun
awesome.
stuff. So, but
I mean,
yeah,
the whoops can feel like bears and bison. So,
so there you go.
Far off there, Chelsea.
So that's making me feel excited. It's kind of bringing together my loves and like definitely I think if I was younger and going to, my first festival or something, I would not be thinking of like staying hydrated, sunscreen, all that stuff that as adults now we're grown up and we're like very on top of it. So it's just helpful to hear all you guys talk about that.
I would say hat too. Y'all see in the summer,
And
like when they're outside
hats.
shows, that
hats.
I always have my hat on and always, So everything that you feel like you can Pinterest, you can, all these things like what I need to go camping and they also have like music festival list and stuff, but I should definitely put together a list and put it up for the show of, what you need for music festival camping, because I definitely have, I probably could look through my phone right now and find it. But
I love it. We'll share that with everyone once it's ready. We can make it really cute too, Alexius. We'll work on it.
I will. That'll be awesome.
Fun. All right. So now we talked about festivals, kind of what to expect, some things to prepare, how to save money, and some things you can think about, and also kind of criteria of how you evaluate whether you want to take the leap into a festival or not. So let's talk about regular Goose shows now. Tour is upon us, and we're all 5 of us are going to be seeing quite a lot of single shows or double shows, if they're playing multiple dates, or 5 whole shows in a row, which honestly, even now, just thinking about it, it's sort of blowing my mind. This is the longest run that Goose has ever done, to my knowledge, correct? Or am I incorrect in that?
Yeah, I think you're
right.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So one, it feels significant just in that, like just 5 nights of them putting together, shows for us, 2 sets and an encore. It's going to be really dope, especially because they're not ones to play duplicates. And so just the thought of 5 full nights of, new songs, not new songs and that they're new to us, but like different songs every single night. It's going to be really special. I'm very, very excited about it.
Super exciting.
So I know Jason and I got to ride the rail for New Year's Eve this year, which was really freaking fun. If you see any shots, you'll see Jason next to Drew. They were rocking out. It was really awesome and just had a great time. And we've talked about rail riding before, but Jason, I wanted to talk to you. Like, why are you a rail rider? And like, the first time Jason and Drew met was because they both insisted on being first in line at the Reading to Boost tourist stop. And so the funny story is we were staying across the street from the venue and Drew got up and he's like, okay, no one's in line. I'm going to start getting ready, but slowly. And then he had like come out of the shower and he looked out the window. He's like, God damn it, somebody's down there. And he like rushed to put all his clothes on, ran downstairs. And then he messaged me. He's like, it's Jason. And so I just thought it was the cutest story of the 2 of you both like just rushing to get in the front because you were so focused on making sure that you both got to the rail and that, of course, your loving wives also did as well. So yeah, like, why are you a rail rider, Jason? When did you start doing so? Is it something you've just done your entire, life, that you went to see live music, especially with you being a musician as well? I'm curious, like, when did that get sparked for you and why you like it so much?
I think maybe, it's just the energy up front is just different. It's what you give to the band and what they give back is just, it's just awesome. Gives you goosebumps literally. And, but I also enjoy, like at Dead and Company, I'm not going up front. I'm definitely just being in the lawn and just dancing and having a good time, but rail riding for Goose, it's just, those guys are just, they're so in tune with, their fans, and they'll look right at you, eye contact, and just build off of you, so it's really awesome. The energy between,
that's such a good point. Band. Yeah, about the energy, the connection you can see. I know for me, it's always I because they're a jam band, so much of it is about their conversation with each other musically. And so on the rail, you really can see it happening in real time. You see, Rick nod to Spuds and you see what happens when that happens, or Jeb and Spuds will be looking at each other, and you'll see like the percussion and drums will start taking things up a different way. One of my funniest experiences on the rail was Peter just got really into a jam he was playing, and Rick like moved over so he could see him in the mirror, and Peter was like so into it he wasn't even looking at the mirror, and Rick turned over to Trevor and just shrugged, and they just like let Peter go, And if you were further back, you would have noticed it wasn't a long time. It was very short, but I just was cracking up because Rick was like, "Hey, dude, are you ready to?" And he was like, he's not ready. And so those things, that's why I like the rail, in addition to just the camaraderie and the way we all get to just be with each other. But yeah, seeing those kind of moments, it just makes when I go listen back, I'm like, oh, that's that jam that Peter couldn't get out of, or, listening back, and you can hear one person will pick up a specific riff, and then you'll like, oh, now they're all playing the riff together. And I'll say like a lot of jam bands don't do that. It's not like that. They either trade off. Is a great example of a jam band that doesn't do a lot of like cohesive sounding things. They'll have folks playing underneath something, but when Page is solo, everyone's pretty chill and like kind of laying back and letting him do his thing. Fishman hates drum solos, so you're never going to get one, but yeah, when Trey's doing his solos, obviously he's the rock god. He gets to do, all the things that he wants to. But Goose isn't like that. Even as Rick is playing his solos, everybody's trying to kind of add a little bit of color in that matches what he's doing. And so I love being up front just to see all of that magic, because it is the special sauce that for me differentiates Goose from other, improvisation bands. I hesitate to call them a jam band because they don't call themselves one. So I sort of go back and forth, but they're an improvisational band and they do use improvisational music, and watching that up front is really special. And then, yeah, Jason, double tap on the actual like eye contact and like faces and laughs and points and things that they do with the audience, because they're just really happy to be up there and happy to see all of us wherever they are. Yeah,
definitely. And just watching the band play their instrument itself. I mean, just, it's just unbelievable. I mean, they're so talented, and that's what keeps me coming back. It's just that sheer talent, and just you don't get not one show's the same, and so and every show's the best one to the next one. So.
Facts. That's my motto, Jason. The best Goose show is the next Goose show. And you're right. Sometimes I find my head on a swivel up front. I don't even know who to look at, because they're all like in that zone. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend some time, just focus on Trevor and what he's doing and like grooving in that. And then like Jeb will start doing something. I'm like, oh shit, let me look over there. So sometimes it's hard to even decide where you want to focus on, because the talent is massive coming off of the stage for sure.
Sometimes I just have to close my eyes because I'll be overwhelmed. Like there's so much talent is coming to the table from each one of them. And my head, like you said, will be spinning. And then I'm like, okay, I don't know which one to look at. So much talent is coming on board. So I'm just going to close my eyes and just enjoy this beautiful musical moment, and so I find myself doing that. Like it's a half and half and that's another reason that I have to have the front, is because I need to see, what each one's doing and them talking to each other. And, but then also I've gotten to like where I'll go at certain spots and go to the back and see what Getty's doing. And, at Goosemas, I was actually up top when Dripfield came on, and I was watching it from up top with that awesome lady, the security guard, who had her whole section. I was with her. And so, but the confetti goes off and it was just so beautiful. And so, So it's just amazing, like the energy that they give on stage, and then also the energy that Getty brings with the lights and all of them coming together. I told Jason this week, I said I'm almost getting ready. I really start feeling like saying that they're a 6-piece band, because Getty is a part of this 100%. Getty makes it. If he gives that whole experience with it. And so I'm almost feeling like Getty should be a part of the band. Like, no one's giving Getty we give funny. Getty the credit. We give him the credit.
Talk about Getty all the time. Drew handed me, he's like, oh, do you want this? It was like a Getty lighting luggage tag that Andrew's brother gave me at the New Year's show because we were just talking and I handed him one of our slaps and he's like, oh, here, take this. And then I was like, oh, awesome, Getty. He's like, that's my brother. He was so proud. I mean, literally, you could just like feel it radiating off of him. It's so great. And Drew's like, do you want to put it on a luggage? I'm like, hell no, that's a memento. Put it over there. I'm not putting it on their damn luggage to get messed up. But yeah, that's definitely a good point about the lighting being part of the band, with Fish, because Karuta is their lighting tech, and his nickname is CK5, which is because he's the 5th member of the band. His handle on Twitter is CK5. Like everybody refers to him as CK5, but of course, Fish 40 is this year, so it's been a long, long time that he's been working with them and creating like some of the most like the wildest visuals that I've ever experienced in my entire life, up to turning Madison Square Garden to a whole aquarium last April, which I've never experienced anything like it. It was, I don't even have words. It was so unexpected, and they always do gags. They always do something cool, but that was just next level. And to feel like you were under the sea in the midst of this giant venue was really...
And you were there?
I was there, right there. So it was really great. And I have found actually with Fish stadium tours, if they do more than one night, I never like to have the same seat. I love moving around a venue. So that 4-night run, we stayed in 4 different seats. We were behind them one night because I love being behind them because you can really see all the interactions between the band. We stayed up on what's called the something bridge. I think it's, I don't know, some bank that I won't name, which is way, way up top and literally like shakes as the show's going on. Really, really cool vantage point. And then where I normally sit, which is on page side, right side, but a little bit up. And then I wanted to really see CK1's lights the last night. So we sat dead center, right in the back, like almost front row. So I say all that to say, yes, Getty is definitely part of this experience. And I expect as things go on with Goose and with Getty's team that it'll become more solidified in that context. And Fish definitely treats Chris as one of their band members. I mean, they don't plan shows without talking with him. And I know that's the same here. It's not like an afterthought. It's part of it. We saw some of that at New Year's. It was extremely theatrical. New Year's Eve second set, and through the new year, just even conceptually going from black and white to full color, what those conversations were, the pieces that they added in, I know some people didn't like them, but the screens on the side, I thought they were really dope. The balls at Gooseman. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that as obviously they're starting to play larger venues. So yeah, excited to see what Getty has in store for us as well as Goose. It's going to be really great. All right. So last thing that we're going to have Jason and I here to talk about is the Capitol. What do we need to know about the Cap? And I'm going to start with you, Alexius. What do people need to, what's the rundown on the Cap? I will say ever since they announced the show, I feel like all I see now is everybody's playing the Cap. Is it me? Yeah,
I feel that way too.
Okay, because it's like every time I turn around, somebody else is playing there and I'm like, like Brandy Carlisle is playing there, I think this coming weekend. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Anyways, go ahead, Alexius. Yeah.
So what I've heard is that there is minimal parking, and there is a bar directly to the left as you come out, and it's called Garcia's. And I was trying to look around to see how close that food places are, and they're not like as close and stuff. Just trying to give a rundown of that, for us. I'm really going to try and start figuring out stuff and letting people know the rundown of that. But I don't know. Do you kind of want like a historic rundown on it, like of how it's here, there, or just like, or just
talk a little bit about the Cap. If you have some info on it, that'd be great. Great to know about the minimal parking. But yeah, what is it about this venue makes it so special? Because again, if you just said this is the first place that Goose has chosen to do this long of a run at, so let's hear why they picked this place.
in 1926, it was the grand opening for it. I don't know if people have Googled the images for it. It's an absolutely beautiful old theater, and it just has that I don't know, the luxurious comfort in it, I guess you would say. And so it's in New York. And so it was a very, very popular theater for years. In the 70s, it turns more into like a rock and roll type of thing. And venue where people they go in, they're seeing the music. I think, Janis Joplin, Traffic, Pink Floyd, Grateful Dead. So it was a very, very popular venue for people to go to. But in the early 70s, the theater was shut down because of the ordinance. At 1 a.m., they made them stop playing music. And so this was not cool in the 70s at all. You were going way past that. And so after that, when it shut down, the roof decayed and, it became a pigeon's new home and stuff. And so it remained dark from the early 70s to the early 80s. And then it started changing hands. And but it wasn't, it still wasn't as big of a success. And so it becomes a catering hall. This is so sad to hear. This broke my heart. It becomes like a catering hall and a wedding venue. Like that's how much it went downhill after like the 80s through the 90s. But in 2011, the CAP comes back and Peter Shapiro, he, reopens it. And so now we've been having amazing music ever since. So thanks to Peter Shapiro, it's back. And, the acoustics in it are amazing. The state-of-the-art sound, video systems, it's just amazing. So I'm really excited to go here because I've never been to the CAP, and just reading the historic parts of it. It's really cool. I'm really interested in seeing it. And just like you said, I've seen everyone and their brother that have been, playing there. Here, I guess we noticed it since, Rick started playing there in Goose. And so I'm very excited to go there and see what it's actually like and feel that energy from all those amazing bands, like being at a place that Pink Floyd was at. And, so I'm excited just to feel that energy from years and years and years ago and feel like what it's going to be like now and the energy that's going forth.
I love it. Yeah. And as you said, I mean, as a music venue, it's been host to Pink Floyd and the Talking Heads, Janis Joplin, Parliament Funkadelic. Obviously, Fish has played there. I've seen Fish there. David Bowie, the Stones, so many people. But I want to make specific note of the 13 dates that the Grateful Dead played there in a single year, which people often refer to as some of the best shows that the Grateful Dead ever did. So, this is a huge, historic space that Goose is stepping into. And it's really amazing that we're all going to get to be there to kind of see it. And since Peter Shapiro reopened it, obviously they've had so many great things. The bar next door is named Garcia's after Jerry Garcia because of the Grateful Dead's impact on the Capitol Theater, generally speaking. But since it's reopening, Bob Dylan was its first act, just to kick things off, no big deal. Bob Dylan,
no big deal.
No MBD, right? But they've had like BB King, Further, Willie Nelson, Black Crowes, Skrillex has played there. I say all these just to note that like it's a wide variety of music. It's not a music venue that like pigeonholes itself as like we're a rock venue or we're an EDM venue or we're this kind of venue. They really try to have folks that are great musicians. That's the bar that they set, and that's what they've been trying to pull in and make sure that people come and see, whether it's Yes or Chris Isaak or Bonnie Raitt or Herbie Hancock. They've all played at the Capitol since its reopening. So we're excited for Goose to add to this amazing legacy, and it's really something really special. So I'm excited for it. It's going to be really cool. And the acoustics there are pretty freaking amazing. And it's also just really beautiful. And so I'm excited to see what Getty does with the interior of it. It's not the same, but I'm feeling like the vibes will be like Radio City just because it's that type of older,
right.
Storied venue that has like really great high ceilings and fun stuff like that. So I'm excited
That's what I was just thinking. I felt like I was being lifted off into a spaceship in Radio City Music Hall because the lights were so amazing. And so I was just wondering, I wonder if I'm going to kind of have the same experience where it's such a historic venue and so beautiful. And I've heard that, that this is definitely made for kind of psychedelic type of music.
Yep.
And so I'm really excited just to experience all of it and see it. And that's what I was feeling. I was kind of feeling like, well, maybe we might get the Radio City Music Hall vibe out of it. And
I have planned at least 2 shows not on the rail. So to really get that experience in as well. But it's good because with 5 nights you can do that. I don't feel like I'm sacrificing my time on the rail to spend some time away from it. So it's going to be a fun time. All right, Jason, do you have anywhere that you want people to follow you or anything else you want to share with our audience before you leave us? We're so happy you joined us, and thanks for sharing all your wisdom and info. And thank you for helping Alexis put together that list because it's going to be real helpful to lots of people.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me on here, and I'm just super excited to see everybody back on Goose Tour and ready to dance.
That's right. Everybody look for Jason. He's a great dancer and really fun to rock out with. We love you, Jason. We'll talk to you soon.
Love y'all. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Jason.
Bye.
Thank you.
I'll see you upstairs.
Thank you.
Western Sun Foundation has launched their second campaign in support of an organization local to the upcoming Capitol Theater Run. 914 Cares, only 7 miles from the venue, works to ensure their neighbors in need are cared for by collaborating, supporting, and providing resources, educating the community about poverty, and encouraging actionable generosity. WSF will be providing charitable support through donations made directly to Western Sun Foundation and launching an online auction to benefit 914 Cares on Tuesday, February 28th. Head over to Western Sun Foundation socials, check out their website, westernsunfoundation.org, or if you're going to the Cap Run, stop by their table for more information on how you can support this great organization and campaign. Thanks so much again to Jason for taking time out of his busy schedule to join us and share all of his wisdom about being on tour and going to festivals, camping, all the great information he was able to share with us. We also want to hear from you. We have a voicemail line set up for all Goose chicks and Goose fans to share their experiences with Goose and the jam band scene. Just call 704-275-3128. to leave us a message. It might get played on the show. This week, we're asking folks to call in and let us know what show are you looking forward to in the spring tour season. Please let us know. It doesn't have to be Goose. It can be just a show that you're going to go see, but let us know. What are you looking forward to? Again, that number is 704-275-3128.
Goose Chicks podcast is produced by Leslie Mack with support from sound engineer Matt Dwyer, co-host Alexius Lipot, and contributors Chelsea Long, that's me, and Hannah Liebrecht.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Ben & Jerry's, for their support, especially Jay Curley, Jay Tandon, and their entire team.
We are a proud member of the Osiris Media family. You can check us out on socials at Goose Chicks Pod and our website, goosechickspod.com. As always, we encourage our listeners to support the Western Sun Foundation. Visit westernsunfoundation.org for more information.
Remember to subscribe and leave us a review in your favorite podcast app. Also, tell your friends about this show. It really does help. Don't forget to call our number and leave us a message at 704-275-3128. Until next time, be kind to each other out there.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Osiris.